Hi there, this is Dan at holisticdecisionmaking.org, and I want to share an example of how I'm currently using holistic decision making to design or create a talk about holistic decision making. So this weekend I'll be talking to a group of people interested in farming and regenerative agriculture down in Tasmania, and I've got an hour and a half to do this talk. And so here's how I'm approaching it, using the approach that I'll be talking about. So the first thing was starting with an intention, a clear statement of what I most deeply wanted to be true of the experience, the presentation at a high level. And I had something else down here initially, but it was sitting with it didn't really light me up. It was a little bland, so I shortened it, focused it, and completely changed it, and made it a little bit scary in the sense of, wow, is that really possible? Like, I'm inviting myself into the possibility of doing something that feels a little bit on the borderline of what is possible in the context of a talk like this. But what the hell, you know? And so I want this talk, I'm open to the possibility that this talk cuts to the core of everyone there, me included, and that lights everyone up there, me included, with life and possibility. Then what I did was start to list from the beginning a bunch of things I could do where this big sausage sort of represents the time slot. That was feeling wrong. And it was a details to patterns approach, or trying to assemble the parts into the whole, when I know from my own design experience that the way to go with these things is to zoom out, start with the high level pattern. And all this looks to you like a god-awful mess. To me, it represents a beautiful kind of harmonic pattern that's going to help the talk hang together as a whole. First thing I did was differentiate, keeping the intention in mind. I differentiated the talk into three high-level chunks. So this was the head, this is the body, in the middle here, and the tail. So the beginning, the middle, and the end, effectively, and which all talks obviously going to have, where the body is bigger and the start and the finish a bit smaller. Then I started to zoom in so you can sort of see in the body there, the next layer was, I'm going to spend some time talking about what the three pillars of the approach. What do you want really? Where are you really? And how do you use decision making to get you from where you are really to where you want to be really? And so on. Like inside the first bit, I wanted there to be a taste of the whole at a high level. So in a way, this is like a mini intention that's for the first part of the talk, where the talk as a whole is chasing this intention. And then within that, starting with a guided meditation, getting people into their bodies and starting with some gratitude and other bits and pieces, you can get a feel for the approach there. And I could walk out there and give this talk now based on this. It's much more important to me than a detailed running sheet or anything like that. Although one thing I will do is get a rough feel for how long I can spend on each of these bits and pieces if I'm going to finish up in the time available. One other thing I'll share actually is that I made a list of stories, metaphors, props, and interactive games that I have in my bag of tricks that I've been developing over time. Props that include a syringe, a giant pencil, a rubber ball, a chicken head. Well, that's a toy chicken head. A hammer and a big blow-up inflatable hammer and a compass. And then with the intention in mind, or in body and mind, feeling into which of these is most appropriately going to serve this, you can see that some of them didn't make it. They didn't make the cut. They, in a sense, I used a process that auditioned these as potential parts of the talk, and only some of them got the position, and other ones are going to have to wait for another time to have their moment in the spotlight or in the sunlight. That's it. Simple example of holistically deciding my way toward a presentation about holistic decision making. Hope some of that made sense, and all the best. Adios.